Welcome to the Hybrid Performance Podcast.
This guy doesn't even know
Dude, that's not even the name of the podcast.
It's only the second one. Jesus fucking Christ. What's the name?
All right. Hello, guys. Welcome back to episode 2 of Hybrid Unlimited. This week we have a special guest in the house. Actually, our first outside guest ever. Do you feel privileged to be in this position today?
Yes, I do. I'm so happy to be here.
Shut your mouth.
It's a complete honor. My name is Alex Bench. Next to me is Megsquats.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Oh, this is the guest. My bad.
How you doing, Meg?
Yeah, I feel great. Thank you for having me.
Of course.
I said, you sure you want me on the podcast? I'm kind of an idiot, but you guys said yes, definitely.
There's no one else in town. We probably would have chose someone else if we had other options, but we got to get content out there, sister, so give us something.
Oh, I know.
Also with us, we have Ryan, Meg's partner, business partner, life partner.
Roommate, we cohabitate.
Sexual partner.
Yeah.
Sexual
you guys are
partner.
lovers.
You could say that.
Once in a while. When you're married,
Yeah.
Steffi and Hayden don't know yet, but one day you'll know.
And we have my co-host, Hayden Bow. Hayden, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm ready to cast the pods.
Awesome. So what's new? What's new at Hybrid?
We got Black Friday coming up.
I think we announced that on the previous podcast.
Hey,
No
we
one
got
knows
it.
when
It's
that.
still coming up, though.
No one.
You haven't heard the previous
When that
podcast. Now
episode's
you're in
gonna-
this one. You skipped the first one because you're only listening to this one because you saw Megsquats is on it. Well, we have Black Friday. Do you guys have Black Friday?
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
it's nationwide, I
Come here.
heard.
Oh, wow. Very nice.
What else do we have coming up that we haven't mentioned?
What haven't we mentioned?
I mean, it's only been like a week. I don't think there's anything new or exciting just yet.
Oh, there's always something new. We're moving the media headquarters and the apparel business over
Oh,
to
yes.
another location.
We're
Just down the
expanding
block, expanding to another 5,000 square foot location. So that's in the works.
that. So we'll be podcasting in a mansion, essentially, of 5,000 square feet.
Essentially. What constitutes a mansion? I think it's over 4,500 square feet.
Is that right?
You
I
Google
think
it?
so.
Fact checker. Yeah, let's just say it's correct. It's going to take too long for you to get it pulled up.
Caesar, you're going to have to get better at that. I'm going to take this time to thank the listeners for, having patience with us as we learn the ins and outs of podcasting, the art of podcasting. Caesar, you're going to have to figure that one out, bud. That's too slow.
Oh, we're right there.
Hey, that
I'm
wasn't
always
bad.
right. I'm always
That was
right.
pretty quick. Yeah. Nice work.
A mansion of a warehouse.
I like
Oh, there
it.
you go. We just made the cut.
Yeah. What else are we going to have there?
Well, the apparel, we're going to run out of there.
Do our own
Podcasting.
screen printing.
The media team is going to work out of there. And maybe we might have a little communal space for, everyone, all the coaches to work out of and do that stuff. Oh, photo shoot studio. Clutch.
Cool.
I heard a rumor that Steph was individually going to be screen printing every shirt that goes out of here.
That's correct. That's her new role. She's not going to be doing informative content anymore. She's just going to kind of take a couple steps back. I'm going to take her role. I'm going to be the new best female powerlifter of all time.
Right.
And she's just going to print the shirts.
Well, that's what you went to grad school for, no?
Yeah, something like that. Something like that.
Along those lines. Just, stay in your lane.
I make my own lane. Am I right? What were we arguing about there? Oh yeah, the CBD post.
Yeah. So what was the beef with that? Basically, somebody commented.
Hold on, let's backtrack. So I made an informative video about CBD products, but honestly, it wasn't so much criticizing CBD's benefits, but more so criticizing the marketing behind it, the ideas behind it, and just kind of the false advertisement essentially for what CBD does versus what it actually does. But messages are always misconstrued by people reading them. They always misinterpret what you want to say and they're looking for something to get upset about.
Yeah, they twist it. They twist what you say into an argument that they don't agree with, so that they can attack that argument.
Yeah, so essentially this guy was telling me that I need to stay on my lane, that I'm not qualified to be interpreting research about CBD. But I mean, reality is one of the benefits or effects of CBD is pain reduction. And pain reduction is within the realms of scope of practice of a physical therapist. So it's like, you're telling me that a doctor in physical therapy doesn't qualify me to read peer-reviewed articles and journals and be able to interpret them and then be able to get to my own conclusion based on what I read about a product that decreases pain or that claims to decrease pain? Of course I am. So I told him, this is my lane, bitch.
Here's my thing, you know,
Exactly.
like, I'm sober, I'm straight edge, I don't do any drugs and stuff, but, like, shouldn't you just smoke some good old reefer, like, back in the days? Because that's going to relieve the pain, like the CBDs, but it's also going to get you high and feeling good,
Yeah,
right?
maybe some people might not want that. The
I don't like
psychoactive
getting high.
ingredient.
But you know what? I feel like CBD. I don't know if I'm going to take heat for this, but I'm going to risk it. I feel like CBD, who it attracts, is the people who never did any drugs growing up at all, and now it's kind of becoming coming into mainstream culture now, and they're like, ooh, here's this like edgy, attractive thing that I never got involved in when I'm young. I'll like dip my toe in the
It's part reefer,
drug
but not
world,
full
you know.
reefer.
It comes from cannabis, and like they're trying CBD now. Thoughts?
But also, weed's hardly
I don't
even
know. I
considered
don't
a
agree
drug
with that, I don't
nowadays. Like, you're not frowned upon. Like, when I was growing up and I was smoking weed, they're like, ooh, look at that pothead. You know what I mean? Now it's like, oh, he's another guy.
Yeah, true.
So
It's
it's kinda
I think it's
changed.
definitely more accepted amongst our sort of demographic, our generation.
Our generation, definitely.
Well, also because now you can put marketing dollars behind it, it will change the culture entirely,
That's
just
true.
like anything else.
It's
So,
bringing more professionalism to the
Yeah.
whole space.
and now people who have money are getting involved in the culture, so that's going to change entirely everything. Whereas before, people who didn't have money, or at least publicly couldn't say, it was always a casual drug thing. to
I
do.
think, and also people always want to believe that there's like a miracle cure, you know? The allure of this like magical product that has all of these benefits will cure every ailment that you
Well,
have.
have you ever
People are
heard of
drawn
any,
to that.
or have you ever heard a hardcore stoner talking about the benefits of weed? It's the same thing.
I
They
heard
think it
about them
cures
all in your
everything.
comment section.
Yeah,
I saw you in real time liking all of my responses.
So coming soon is hybrid CBD oil.
Oh no.
Oh my god. I mean, I might. Like I said, I don't have anything against CBD. I use it sometimes, but
I mean, those guys are making a lot of money, so.
Do you
Yeah,
see?
Hybrid
maybe.
CBD?
We were talking about it the other day. Mike Tyson is like fully in. That's like his whole business now.
really,
He brought a thing on Joe
Dan
Rogan's
Bilzerian
podcast.
too, right?
Oh, is he?
Yeah. I think he stopped playing the pokers and is just doing the CBDs.
Wow.
Just the CBDs.
Yeah, I mean, there's
Dan
definitely-
Bilzerian has so many. He has like a modeling business. Did you know
Oh, those
that?
chicks are on. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And I know of a couple of girls who are like in the.
Hmm.
They go to the events and stuff. And I'm like,
Interesting.
do you know what the
Wow.
process is to get accepted as one of Dan Bilzerian's models?
Gotta be hot as
Um,
hell.
I'm not sure, but you
They're
got to be
all
hot
so
as hell and
hot.
skinny, like really skinny.
Yeah,
big
he doesn't
boobies.
like big booty hoes.
I imagine some very strict
Stop writing.
NDAs
Yes, probably.
about what they can and can't talk
Oh,
about.
yeah. Agreed.
I'm guessing, but
yeah.
Hold on, wait. Am I supposed to hear you guys in these headphones?
No.
Okay, cool. Okay,
What's
I
the
was
purpose
nervous.
of this? I think just like noise canceling, so you can like not get distracted or something. Okay.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
we're going to
good.
get the mixer, guys. Don't
Cool.
worry.
the ones and twos.
DJ Sleazy C.
I need more Steffi in my headphones. More snare in my headphones.
So, what's new, Meg? What are you working on these days? You're towards the end trail of your 1 month long trip.
Yeah.
What
So
were
we
you
did a little
doing?
bit of traveling, both personal and business. We went and saw Juji Mufu, my favorite YouTuber,
Saw the
besides
videos.
Steffi Cohen.
Damn, I'm a YouTuber now. I'm almost at that 100K mark.
Oh, hell yeah, you're going to get your plaque soon.
Yeah,
I
I'm
think they
excited.
still give out the plaque.
I hope so.
Do
I've been
they?
waiting for that.
Yeah, I think they
Excited.
do, but actually, John was saying they might not.
Get your
anymore.
plaque because I didn't ever redeem mine because this is going to sound really bad. I never celebrate like I felt like 100K wasn't a big enough benchmark for me to really shoot towards. So I never redeemed to get the plaque because I'm like, who cares? 100K, every fucking
I'll
buddy
get
has
1
100K.
million soon.
Yeah. I'm like, I'll wait for the 1 million. Like, I don't want this shitty plaque. But I regret that.
dude.
I regret
No, I
that
want
because I
it.
should
Check
celebrate.
that pride, sister.
I
all right?
know.
Celebrate
You got to
these
savor
life
all the small
achievements.
victories.
Yeah, you gotta celebrate the small
Part of
victories.
the journey.
I'm trying to get better at that. So I wish I would have gotten it, but
So
You
yeah,
should
what
get
else?
it.
You're traveling. You saw Juji Mufu.
yeah, I'm almost done. We haven't announced this on the.
I saw you guys cover our photo with your photo.
Oh yeah, you like
Oh
that?
yeah.
You said, "Oh, cover that." I was like, oh, okay.
When he told me, I was like, wait, what? And he's like, don't worry, he's joking. I was like,
Okay.
The nerve.
Yeah.
That was kind of fucked up.
It was kind of fucked up. I think I slapped Ryan's hand. I was like, don't do that. So yeah, we went on a little trip. We went to New York City. I saw a bunch of Broadway shows.
did you see Book of Mormon?
No, I saw that a long time ago. I've seen
Oh,
it
okay,
before.
you've seen
I
it.
took her for her birthday.
I saw
like,
it the first round when it came out too.
So-
Amazing. That's
Yeah,
the best
so
one.
good.
I compared this to Book of Mormon. We saw Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
Amazing. Like, amazing show if you ever go to New York. And it's not too expensive. But Beetlejuice, the Broadway show, is getting a lot of publicity because of TikTok.
Wow, really?
Yes. And people are, TikTok, you like redo a song, like you use the audio from a song.
Right.
Beetlejuice has a lot of like
Funny,
obvious
funky
funny ones. So yeah, I kept seeing the Beetlejuice songs on TikTok. I'm like, I'm gonna go see this fucking show.
Wow.
But I love like Broadway musicals and stuff like that.
Well,
Have you
they
watched the
said-
movies and stuff?
Like
Growing up? Like,
Beetlejuice?
yeah. Or the movie.
I watched it and I remembered like the important stuff, but we watched it again. I'm like, this movie's so weird. Like
Yeah,
it's
oh, yeah.
inappropriate too.
Oh, yeah.
It's interesting how the effect that TikTok is having on artists. Like, aren't they saying that like the top hits are coincide with the songs that are mostly
Trending on
TikTok?
Yeah.
TikTok?
That's how I learn
crazy.
what songs are trendy. TikTok.
Yeah. I sometimes put on Spotify or Apple, I put most popular songs on TikTok and find a bunch of good ones.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you a TikToker, Meg?
I unironically watch TikTok. Like I'm
you
a
don't,
fan.
You don't do the TikToks.
I'm trying to get on it and just repost things that I
Okay.
post, but it doesn't work.
No, it's difficult. TikTok's difficult.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm a fan, but I'm not an influencer. I'm not a TikToker
Yet.
yet.
This is my favorite line for my favorite TikTok. But anyway, that's the Gucci Gang shit. You know the motherfucking vibes.
Ah, okay. Word. I think you guys need to get a time machine and be like 10 years younger.
I
15
disagree.
years younger to be relevant on TikTok.
Hey, don't
Dude.
ageism me.
Yeah.
Wait, I have a question because I answer this a different way. If you could go back and start everything earlier on the internet, would you do it?
I don't know, because timing's so important. I kind of feel like,
It might mess up things.
a lot of the reasons why we've been able to do what we did is because of the timing and how what we sort of presented as a product aligned with the growth of the sport and things like that. So
I do think that it's an advantage though if you can get a head start.
to get in early,
Yeah, because like as you know, the platform has changed so much. I hate to be that person. Talking about algorithms is similar to talking about conspiracy theories. I
Yeah.
feel like, but I don't know. I do think that at the beginning there was less competition. The algorithm favored post exposure. So I don't know. I mean, I think it would have been easier to build a following if you would have.
but think of sort of like businesses like yours that you've timed it well, sort of like with how popular feminism and like the whole girl power movement kind of has come into play. It's like, I don't know if that was as popular back 10 years ago or however many years ago. It definitely didn't have the same
powerlifting.
same
Not quite as
yeah,
well,
exactly. So it's like, would you have been able to get that traction early on?
And to add, 10 years ago, I was a huge hot mess pile of shit.
You would have fought every
Same.
person in the YouTube comments.
You know how it is.
Send me your address. Let's do this.
I would be like, if someone, like your CBD post, someone would have challenged an idea that I had, I'd be like, bitch, where you at?
I'm gonna find
Meet
your
me in
mother.
the Summit Mall parking lot and we'll
Nah,
figure this shit
You
out.
say that now, but you would quickly realize that that's not the way to argue with those people.
Yeah, possibly, but
Do you feel like you could have made that movement cool then regardless? Like if you took you from now, not the hot mess version, went back in time,
I think I
where would you
started,
message?
like the points that you all made, I started powerlifting at a good time where the sport was really, really growing on the women's side, especially, and a time where the only answer to a Christian Guzman or a Max Tuning on the YouTube platform was a bikini fitness model, a Nikki Blackketter, or women who were doing the more bodybuilding style. So I came in at a spot where I was, at the time, maybe the only powerlifter girl YouTuber who was taking you through a day in the life of like a powerlifter on the women's side of it. So that was my little window of opportunity. And I was also started when I was like 25. So I was a little bit more mature. I had my identity figured out for the most part. Whereas before I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what my message should have been or could have been at that time. So I started at a good time for me where I was mature enough to take criticism for the most part. Not in every instance, but I was able to take criticism and also feel confident in who I was. That didn't really matter what other people had to say. And a cool time where people are talking about like very early stages of talking about, oh, I'm a fitness model essentially, but I don't have the perfect body. And like before it would be impossible to do that. So yeah, I think I started everything kind of lined up at the same time. But if I could add a couple years of experience and like knowing that, of course I would be thankful for that.
Yeah.
But I just wasn't ready.
What, Hayden, when you ask her about her movement, like what exactly are you referring to?
Well, just her mission, right? Put a barbell in every female's hands or woman's hands. I'm paraphrasing maybe, but that's something that's become accepted and something that is like cool and embraced now. Like less and less you're seeing that lifting is for men, only for men, and bodybuilding and all those different aspects. So I was just thinking like the timeline worked out well in her favor, that that sort of movement came in at the same time that it, you know, CrossFit was pushing like girls can lift and not look like bodybuilders, or, you know, you had various different sort of like strength sports kind of being more accepting and encouraging of female athletes. And maybe you played a role in that, and some of the other females in the industry played a role in that too. I'm not sure like what came first, but that was sort of my my reasoning for the question. And then obviously it's taken off like crazy. Like feminism in general in the sports space is such a huge thing. There's companies that base their entire mission on that, you know. So, and you see more and more of them every day. Some of them I think are not necessarily for the right reasons.
That's
and they're
what I was
just
gonna say.
sort of capitalizing on the trendiness of the whole females in sport thing. But I also think that there's a lot of people who are starting it for reasons like Meg that are, you know, they're doing it for the right reasons, and they're helping direct that narrative in a good direction.
Yeah, I think in the current day and age, I think feminism has become a fundamentally flawed construct. Because what was feminism intended for initially?
Equality.
It's the equality, equal rights among men and women, right? But I think that has evolved over the last few years to a much more convoluted construct.
I think when it's taken in the wrong context or it's used for the wrong reasons, sometimes it has the ability to transform from we want to have the same women wanting to have the same rights as men to like women versus men. And I think that's where a huge problem comes. Like even just terms like toxic masculinity and all those things that you hear all the time, I feel like the intention of them is it's not helping create equality. It's kind of creating a divide, and that's where a lot of the feminist movement has gone off track, in my opinion.
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No,
I'd say some people don't know what they want to say, so they may latch on to ideas that they see are working and use that as a direction to point themselves into. So I mentioned to you, we've stopped saying empowerment, women's empowerment, because it seems to me like every other female fitness coach has used that. And I'm like, well, now you've just taken away what that actually means.
What does it actually mean?
Women's empowerment. So I would think it's in the sense where I work. I did notice when I first started lifting, I was lucky enough to be in a gym where a lot of badass chicks were lifting. And I would post about it on the internet, and all of my comments were saying, I wish I could lift at your gym. I'm the only girl. I'm alone. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. And I don't feel comfortable asking maybe a guy like Alex, like a smaller woman or a woman in general, may be intimidated by you. Yeah. And I understood how that would feel for my past experiences at the gym. So that's why we started Strong Friends, to provide free information and resources and kind of embody the space that we were lucky enough to have, and create that on the internet for people to share their stories and have a community around this place that doesn't exist anywhere at that time. and try to get people excited about lifting in the gym so that maybe they can form their own communities in their gyms. So at that point, to me, that was an empowering thing where it's like, yeah, we're empowering you with free information, the maybe confidence to feel like you just by lifting a weight, you won't completely change your body to something that you don't want it to be. Maybe you should try this. And I don't think there were that many people encouraging women to do that. So for me, that's what was empowering. And I found it to be empowering for other people. So, and it wasn't just women, it was all people who watched their gyms change over the past like 5-10 years. That's an empowering thing for a community to get more people involved and your gym grows and it's fun. It's fun to like also not just be a bunch of dudes lifting, I'm sure. Well, I would hope. But as I kept going, I noticed people latching onto it and it being like women's empowerment and it's to sell something. And it's like, I feel like I never put the words women's empowerment on a program that I was selling. That was just a part of the mission. So we kind of just stopped using certain phrases that I felt were being overused. And
are there other ones? Like what, off the top of your head?
Maybe like some of them I associate with like pyramid schemes. So like boss babes. I feel like any
gangs,
girl gang. Yeah, just like kind of these like trite, meaningless things that to me it's all kind of corny. It just becomes kind of corny, you know? I don't know if you have anything to add.
Yeah, I mean,
there.
it's not even like they are meaningless, but they can, like you said, kind of become kind of not meaningless, but maybe they're diluted, or you kind of, the more you see, because like big box chains, I think I was like Target or something starts selling all these like empowered sort of, and it's like that just feels like you're monetizing.
The meaning behind it isn't genuine,
right? And I mean, it doesn't mean that it's poorly intentioned or that it's the wrong direction of the message, but at a certain point, it just feels like commercialized.
Yeah. When you see Chase Bank is every bank in the world is celebrating Pride Month. I think that's great in ways, but also it's like, are you doing this because it's part of your value system, or are you doing this because it opens you up to a new market?
Right.
And I think
it's virtue signaling in that way. Not that I'm saying every person who uses these things is doing exactly that.
But if also that's the only time that you kind of do anything for a movement or for a cause, then it's probably more of like well, you're just kind of hopping on this thing.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it comes with any business owner has to have some creativity and something original about them so that they don't fall into those traps. And Instagram and social media has lended owning a business to so many more people that it's no longer you see successful and smart business people having businesses. Anybody can have one, or at least seemingly have one. So you see a little bit more copying and grabbing a phrase and holding on to it, which is fine, but it becomes boring. And I try not to just latch on to something for the sake of like, oh, it sounds cool and like people can relate with this maybe, you know.
Yeah,
Maggie, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, yeah, but just wait till our next drop.
Yeah.
That's a joke. That's like, women, no.
Yeah, we've so I have one of our most popular pieces that we've sold. It's a shirt that says "One Strong Bitch," and it's like that that is synonymous with women's empowerment. That phrase, those phrases are synonymous, but they're not the same phrase.
And it's your own.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
cool. It's not one that you heard a million places and then jumped on the bandwagon.
I still want one of those hats.
One
I got
strong
one
bitch.
for you.
Yeah.
Oh, we got to get you one.
Hell yeah.
We
Maggie,
should've
you
brought one.
consider yourself a feminist?
Yeah, I would say, but I agree with you. It's a difficult thing because there is one definition of feminism and everybody knows it, but that can take you like on one end of the spectrum to the other. And there's so much disagreement under the umbrella of feminism that even just saying, yes, I'm a feminist can be a controversial statement because people will either say, no, you're not intersectional enough. You're not a feminist. Or on the other end, people will say, well, I believe in equality, but I'm not a feminist because of X, Y, and Z reason.
Right.
So
Should
I
be more
believe
of a personal thing. I feel like so many decisions like that, it's like it's your personal choice. People don't need to know your exact guidelines to making choices like that in your life. And if it needs to be so defined for everyone, they're thinking too much into it. You know?
Yeah. And I know that I have a value system. Equality is up there. But how I do that doesn't require me to lead with, "Hi, I'm Meg, I'm a feminist." I try to embody what I believe in and how I want the world to be and change and how I want myself to live my life with a set of values.
Something I thought was super interesting that you always said, and which I think aligns better with feminism, is I think positioning. I mean, I'm a guy, so I'm talking out of my ass. But
No, you're not. I mean, you're around me a lot, and I'm around.
I think
multiple
that
females.
a better position to take with feminism is just showing empowerment without like almost talking about it too much. Where it's like when I see a lot of feminism on social media, it's kind of like punching up against men, and it shows women almost in a weaker position, and they're just sort of making more obvious this gap. When what I thought was really cool that you said one time was that you never felt held back in any way by being female. Mm-hmm. Like it was never even something that came into your mind. Like when you played soccer, you played with the dudes until you were good enough to be respected by them. Mm-hmm. You know, both of you have walked into sort of like a male dominated industry and done really well with it. And it was you were never like in a place of weakness where you felt like you had to really make a point. Mm-hmm. You know?
Yeah. I would say to play devil's advocate. I don't know if this is exactly like a response to that, but there are some things where I felt I needed to take a stance to try to improve the world in a way, and my industry in a way. So for instance, before there were bikini models doing my job, before there were many female powerlifters doing the similar kind of things that we do. So for me, it was important to stay true to myself and take a position where I didn't want my entire feed and who I was to be what most women were doing to be successful, and that's showing their bodies, and every shot is they're bikini models, so every shot's a bikini shot. Like I think that makes sense. So it was important for me to provide a response for that, and show my feminist stance would be to show other women and try to inspire them. That's like, hey, you don't have to go that way. So it is an action-based approach, which is what it should be, not just I'm a feminist and here's my tagline. This is what I'm gonna say I'm doing, so that you get an idea of who I am.
I think when it's authentic, it really just shows. Like if it's really who you are and what you believe, not something that you've just, in general in life and anything, that you've just seen people post about on social media. You're like, ooh, I want to be like that person. You know what I mean? And you just take that stance, you start trying to throw it at people. I feel like the ingenuineness of it shines through. And then if it's something that you really genuinely believe, it shows more, instead of it's just someone that's just fucking angry and spewing at the world.
Yeah, I also think that, or I hope that it sometimes, or at some point, it gets to the point where women can be sexually desirable and have a choice in how they want to express themselves, or how much they want to be, how revealing they want to be, yet still be intellectually respected.
Right.
We were talking about that, Hate, the other day, about how in professional industries, like if you're showing too much of your body, I agree, like it might be seen as unprofessional.
Especially if your profession doesn't have anything to do with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you're
a sexy dentist.
But it shouldn't take away.
Yeah, exactly. Well, but it was something along those lines where we were looking at somebody's page, and it was like their professional page, and they did something that was totally irrelevant to their body, and then the majority of their page was made up of that. So like I just felt like we were talking about it because I felt we sort of just had an open discussion about.
But you know what the problem?
Does it take away from
the problem I see with that sort of thinking? Because I can agree with both sides of that argument. Is that sometimes it might seem like in order for women to be respected, they have to be more like men. I think that's one of the problems with the modern view of feminism. That in order to be respected, you have to behave more like a man. I mean, think about like the evolution of Disney characters. How the shift between Disney princesses and current like feminine characters, how they've gone from like really dainty and like delicate and feminine to like these badass, powerful, evil, almost like overpowering female characters. I think that's really interesting. But I don't necessarily think that's a step in the right direction necessarily, because it's painting femininity as like a weak or fragile or of lesser value than it is.
You mean, so you think that because those characters are more mirroring
Masculine
male
traits.
characters?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, then you get into the whole argument of what is a male trait, what is a female trait. Are those just societal constructs, and should you be able to do whatever you want in any category? I mean, that's a whole other rabbit hole we could go down.
But I mean,
do see
I've
the
experienced that myself. Like, in order to be accepted by my male soccer team, I had to behave like a dude. You know?
But in what sense?
In all sense, I had to swear, I had to be dirty, I had to like
Fart.
not wear makeup,
Burp.
fart, I don't know, you know?
Sounds like every day for
Be
Meg.
a dude.
I see.
Yeah. And that's why I've even taken a shift in my own social media where like I felt like at the beginning I had to, or I was seeing success portraying myself as a tomboy, which I like. I mean, it's part of my style, but I also like wearing heels and makeup. But I went through like a kind of like a transformation where got to a point where I realized, hey, I can wear heels and dresses and makeup and be really feminine and still be a badass. I can still be an intellectual and like
But
wear.
I think that idea goes both ways, though, too, right? Like, if I, just as I am right now, decided I'm going to go into a female-dominated industry, I'm going to get my ass kicked. I'm not going to walk into the makeup field talking like this.
But it's not only
behaving like this
physical.
and-
You would need to develop certain inner characteristics to help you connect better with a female audience. You would have to be more caring, more empathetic. You would have to be more soft-spoken, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but that doesn't make you feminine. Like, that just makes you able to connect with females better.
Yeah, I don't know. I think
Boom,
there's some-
roasted.
See our new hybrid makeup palette coming out next week, right?
I heard there's good money in that.
Well, I was telling you about, okay, you have to follow Jeffree Star, controversial character. But
MySpace days right there.
do you know him? Yes.
MySpace, of course,
yeah.
dude.
He started on MySpace. Super
Yeah,
popular on
he was
MySpace.
Famous as hell.
And have you followed his career recently?
No.
He's a billionaire. I don't know if he's legit a billionaire, but he's getting up there. He is both very masculine and very feminine, and it's the most interesting character of a person that I think I've ever seen. Full face of makeup, and he's still very masculine. Like makeup, nails, like blinged out nails. I was telling you, like iced out AP, like I don't know, heels, but he still presents.
I have to look into this guy.
He somehow, I don't know, somehow, but
How did his
He's-
fame start in MySpace? Was it
he was a musician.
right? Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. But still presents as a male, and crushes the beauty industry. Crushes. But he's still very masculine, and I would say many of his personality traits. So I was thinking about if you were to go into the makeup field, which it sounds like you're ready, you could look into that kind of balance of the different energies and styles, and there's so many things that.
Meg, have you ever been in a position where, as a female, obviously, have you been in a position where you felt like you were treated unfairly?
I would say only one time I realized there was a guy who we had the same sponsor, and he told me how much he was making, and I was like, I'm fucking out. Like, I'm out the door, because this was too heavily skewed in his favor. We were pretty close in numbers, maybe like back and forth on Instagram and YouTube. Like, he crushed me on YouTube, I crushed him on Instagram, and I was like, yeah, no, I'm like done, because he was probably making like 4 times what I was making.
But did you bring that up to the people who are sponsoring?
No, because I don't think I was just out, because I'm like, I don't need to be treated in this way, you know what I mean? And I didn't fight it because I didn't need to, so that was in a privileged position altogether. So it's like a rich person, like, sad that they're not as rich as the other rich person, you know what I mean? So I didn't.
I was gonna say, yeah, it wasn't just like the affiliate. It was like base salary, like starting point monthly.
Could he add much more obligations or anything like that, possibly?
I was gonna say, I think you guys like kind of covered terms and stuff. And
Yeah, I think we had similar terms in the case. And so that was the only experience. I'm like, yes, I could have fought for it, but I just realized that was, I would have started arguing for someone else to pay me more money when I was already moving in the transition of really starting my own business, where it didn't fucking matter how anyone treated me, and I could use my femininity or just being a woman to like that idea alone and like that factor of me alone to make way more money than what this one company was offering me.
So you think that had to do with your gender?
Possibly. I mean,
There's the only obvious difference.
comparing the
between two of
metrics
you.
altogether, but you have to also think maybe our audience is different. Maybe it was a supplement company. Maybe men buy a lot more supplements than women, which is true.
That's interesting that you mentioned that, because I had the opposite experience. Like, I think I'm the highest paid athlete that Animal has, and I'm the only female athlete that they have too.
Well,
Yeah.
you're also crushing
I was
it.
gonna say,
That's
you're
true.
also you.
It also, yeah, I mean, and it depends on the circumstance as well.
No, I mean, I'm not saying it is a reality. Like, women all over the world are undercompensated, undervalued, and overworked. You know, that is the reality of the situation. And there's some fields where it's heavily biased towards males, and that's just the reality, right? But it doesn't mean that there's no opportunity. But anyway, I mean, I feel like we could go
I
in
can't remember what
circles.
comedian it is. It might have been Bill Burr. But if you ever heard whatever comedian it was, his stance was like, he was talking about how women were super selfish. It's like, you guys already make all the people. Can you guys just let us have the high paying jobs? You know, like how much more do you need? And I was like, that's hilarious, but also kind of a good point. You kind of have an important role as it is, you know? But-
Yeah, well, we have to make all the people and then raise all the people, and that's all unpaid.
And go to
labor.
work. I mean, we're getting a pretty good deal.
It's a lot of
You
expectations.
guys are fighting for us to have a really good deal in society.
But anyway, before we close it off, I've been reading Educated. I was talking to Meg this morning about it.
I love the book. It's an amazing book. Everyone should read it.
Yeah, it's
Every
so
woman
awesome.
should read it.
Yes. And I took some notes today about a portion that, and that's actually ties into our conversation today. So I'm going to quote it. I wrote it down. I wonder how I could be a woman and yet be drawn to unwomanly things. So I thought that was really interesting. It was referring to what she was interested in. So initially she went to college in pursuit of a music career. So she wanted to become a director of a choir. And suddenly she felt drawn to politics and more kind of like law and those kinds of topics. And she was thinking about switching and going to law school, like doing a pre-law and then going to law school. And she was having a conversation with one of her best friends, and she asked him if he were a woman, if he would still go to law school. And he said no, because if he were a woman, he wouldn't be interested in that. No, almost as if like law is for men and like she should find a profession that's for women. And I just thought it was an interesting quote. I wonder how it could be a woman and yet be drawn to unwomanly things.
Yeah, well, also tough from that guy's perspective, because you're thinking from your perspective as a man
Yeah,
about how you would feel as a female, and I feel like you can't really do that.
yeah.
But yeah,
But it's an interesting quote. Nothing to add? All right, moving on.
too deep for me. You're
It
too
is
deep
deep.
today.
Yeah,
well,
you might
do
need to read the full
you
chapter.
ever feel any type of way about that in your approach to lifting weights and powerlifting? Because it is a hyper masculine thing in the way that people's perception is that, oh, this is something that if I do, it's going to make me less feminine.
Absolutely. I mean, I feel like my entire life I've been drawn to unwomanly things. For some reason, my entire life I felt maybe something to be said about like the relationship I had with my parents, where I always felt like I had to prove myself. But I felt like choosing, kind of just like going against the grain and proving something to society, to my family, about what I could do both physically and academically. I don't know. I've always kind of felt like I had to prove myself. So every single sport I've done has been male dominated. Soccer, motocross for a while.
And
guess
I
CrossFit
would
now, but
argue that
Olympic
the
weightlifting
world is now
probably.
changing, that characteristic is now a feminine virtue. Like
Yeah.
proving yourself.
Absolutely.
And because of how culture is set up, to where it's like, oh, people are going to think that you can't do this. And in the past, girls never did this. So it's now a feminine virtue to push yourself to prove everyone wrong. Like, that's a very feminine thing to do, I would say. So it's kind of cool how we're experiencing a shift, and a shift that we can benefit on, which is amazing, and we can capitalize on too, most importantly. Maybe not most importantly, but yeah, it's an interesting time to dabble with the idea of femininity and masculinity.
What were some of the things that we were talking about the other day, about the things that we've seen on social media and how we feel like that pollutes the idea of feminism? What are we saying?
I mean, I think we kind of touched on it already with the just creating an us versus them mentality, the message being disingenuous.
Yeah.
You know, people hopping on the bandwagon because it's what's trendy and profitable right now. And also just constantly drawing attention to the differences between men and women, you know, whereas if you're trying to promote equality, you should be not necessarily, I don't know, just coming from a position of weakness. I think that's what happens a lot, is because there's so much talk about it. It's like, it's the whole punching up thing that I was talking about before, where there's a constructive way to go about it, which is the way you're doing it, just, you know, kicking ass and, you know, avoiding those trendy hype words. And then there's the way that, you know, comes across sort of like, well, I can't compete against men, so I'm going to just try to cater exclusively to the female audience. And I think that's a little bit counterproductive.
That's a great summary.
Yeah.
Meg, you were saying your audience is about like 50-50, 50% male, 50% women.
On
That's crazy.
Instagram and
interesting.
YouTube, it's like 50-50.
Yeah, that's really good.
And it's cool because I would be concerned that it should be more, because I feel like I'm a pretty girly girl, and the whole point is to try to get gyms full of badass chicks, like, to join with the badass dudes and have some fun in the gym. So yeah, I used to think that was a bad thing. I wanted it to be like 70% women, 30% men, but I think it's just the nature of powerlifting, the nature of what the sport
Lifting
looks like
weights.
already, and lifting weights.
But
looks
50-50, I think it's great. So you just started a training business where you offer online training programs.
Yeah, so we have one program, Stronger by the Day, and it is powerlifting based. So we focus on getting stronger in the squat, bench, and deadlift. But it's not in particular to train anyone ready for a meet or anything like that. But it's general training, and we focus on getting people strong and having fun and keeping people healthy. So it's just fun, general training. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and so we
That's
have
the plug right there.
That's the plug right there.
But it's for both men and women.
Yep. Anyone's welcome, and anyone in between too. So if you don't identify with either,
Whatever you identify
there's
with,
a
you're
place.
welcome.
There's a place for you on Stronger by the Day, and our
Good
goal.
name, by the way.
Thank you. It was Ryan's idea. I can't take credit.
Awesome.
And our goal, in line with you know, motivating people and trying to give resources, is always to make strength training approachable, fun, and make anyone feel welcome to get stronger. So that's how we approach, like, being a feminist, where it's like, maybe women don't have access to X, Y, and Z information or resources for programming. So it's like we made it as cheap as we possibly could to make it accessible for everyone. And that's what we do with all our free information as well. And I know you guys focus on putting as much good free content out there. And I think that's our job, to make it free and accessible so everyone can get their hands on information so that they can get stronger themselves. So that in itself is a feminist act. So way to go, team.
I love it. I think it's interesting that even though you portray yourself as, like you said, super girly and feminine, you still draw a pretty large male audience and clientele. You still have like a ton of guys there into the program. I think that's cool. Like, that says a lot about your influence and your power, that guys want to listen to you and view you as a figure of authority in a field that's male dominated.
Yeah. And we make stuff for everyone. And sometimes we make stuff that's better than what a lot of men out there have to offer. And it's more approachable, especially for beginners, which is who we want to get people's foot in the door into the gym, and however far they can take it, that's great. But sometimes we're only with them for the first like 2 or 3 years of training, which is perfect. That's where I want to be. So it's for anyone. And I think that says a lot about a man too, when he's open to working with a woman, just based on what he may have learned growing up or thought his own kind of, preconceived notions of working with and training with a woman. Our strongest lifter is like one of the strongest 83s in the USAPL, and Marcus Adudu. And he's always worked with women coaches, and I'm like, this dude is awesome because I love his open-mindedness to, maybe he's working with someone who's weaker than him too. So I don't know how like a lifter feels that kind of way, a certain kind of way when they're up and coming. So
Yeah, he benches your deadlift, but it's cool.
so, I think it does say a lot about a man and how the culture itself is changing, not just a reflection of me.
Yeah, that's interesting. The only people I've coached one-on-one have been guys.
Yeah.
And the biggest dudes in the gym too.
Oh yeah,
Which has been dope.
that's awesome.
Hey.
One of the best progress I ever made was working with you the last couple of years, and I'm biased, so I'll toot your horn a little bit. But I think what you do is very difficult in that you are constantly taking on male athletes who have been competing for a long time, and I was watching sort of my progress of my total, still making progress, but it getting less and less, as it normally does in lifting. And then I have done the last couple meets with you, and it's like just huge spikes in the total. So that was pretty cool, and it was cool for me to be able to be proof of concept for you.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's all good stuff.
So what do we have for lifting gossip of the week?
We got some good stuff.
Ooh.
First of
The
all,
goss, the tea.
the tea. Oh
The
man.
tea.
Well, we talked about Reebok Record Breakers last podcast, but I think it's pretty cool to see good guy Herbie stepping up and denying the world record that he got at Record Breakers. So for those of you who weren't following along with Record Breakers, Herbie broke the all-time world record. Was it total or squat? Squat. And he felt that the squat was high, and that's a huge problem, obviously, in powerlifting. High squats getting passed in federations, and people illegitimately getting these world records. And he made a post asking Open Powerlifting to not count his world record. So I don't know if that. I actually don't know how that works, and if Open Powerlifting will take the record, or if that opens like a weird doorway of people requesting world records or pressuring people to ask for their world
I think
records
it
to
should
be
be.
removed. But yeah, I think
He's setting a precedent, and like there's no reason why if he doesn't want that information posted online, it's his information, it's his name, it can't be revoked,
yeah,
I thought that was a class act.
Yeah, definitely.
That was so
Definitely.
sick.
he's always been a class act.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a good dude.
Yeah, I don't know. What about the side of it where, let's say you break a record, it's a borderline squat. Borderline squats are to be ruled in favor of the athlete, right?
Right.
Now you got thousands of people hitting you up on social
But he
media
also-
asking you to renounce your world record.
Well, they've always have. For other people, I've seen social
That's
media
true.
bashing. Come on, tell them not to count this. Why is this place counting it?
That's
and his
true.
his wasn't borderline. He even said,
No, yeah,
it wasn't. It was, it was a video from the front, and it was, blatantly high from the front.
Yeah, true. That's interesting. It's crazy. Is he the first guy to ever do
I
that?
think so. Yeah, definitely.
Wow,
That I
To ever
know of,
renounce a world record?
Yeah.
Wow. That was crazy.
that's progress for the sport for sure.
Yeah. Larry Wheels is back on the platform.
Wow, yeah, the triumphant return of Larry Wheels, looking huger than ever.
Yeah.
Did you see
What
him?
is he, 308?
Looked like he was wearing my
Yeah, he was
singlet.
actually, I think, finally close to being a full 308. He was going for Eric Lillibridge's record again, and attempted it on his third deadlift, but didn't get it. I think he could have had that total if he would have been a little different on his attempt selection.
Yeah, like his bench looked pretty easy.
His
third
bench was
attempt.
very easy, and he benched way under what he hit in training.
What was it? 630 or something?
635. Yeah. Squat, same thing.
Isn't the bench record for that class like 640? Like he was like just shy and clearly.
Oh, really?
I think he
Oh,
was
wow.
like just below it. I'd have to check that, or someone could check that. Caesar.
Nice.
In 308.
But I think it was like it looked like he had plenty
Well,
left in the
I
tank
think
to
his
exceed it,
attempt
and he
was
was
like 288. So if it wasn't 287.5, then maybe he did chip the record.
oh, he might have.
Maybe that was one of his goals
Right.
too. But squat, same thing. He squatted pretty under what he hit in training, and then had to make like a 100-pound jump on deadlift to try to get the record. But maybe he should come try it at the showdown, February 1st and 2nd.
Let's see what you got,
With a lot
Larry.
of prize money too. I think the guy likes money. I don't think there was prize money at the RPS meet. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's hard to say how close he could have come to that record because of such a big jump. Like what was his first attempt? 705 or something.
The deadlift
crazy
that he
like?
got, I think he finished with like an 8.
No, but I think his first attempt was like 715. His second attempt or 705, and then like 815, and then
900, right?
900.
Well, so I think his third attempt bench was 635, like we said. I think his second attempt bench was like something like 540. But I've watched some of his YouTube videos where he talks about like he has to make huge jumps. Like he doesn't have the gas for multiple like 85% plus attempts, you know, which may come down to his training style and something that needs to be evolved certainly because it is a 3-attempt sport, you know. Like fuck, you're gonna open at 60% and then 75%, then go 105%. Like, hey, it works for him, but
sometimes
fuck
it's
with
also
your
a huge
total.
gamble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, because what if
Big
you
time.
make that huge
'Cause
jump
then
and
you
you
don't
just
make
don't have it
no
that
total
day?
PR. He left with,
Yeah.
I think, without a total PR.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know?
that's tough.
Yeah. What was the other guy that broke the all-time world record?
Dan Bell.
Dan Bell.
Dan Bell.
Oh yeah, it kind of came out of
he
nowhere.
recently moved to Florida. He only lives like an hour and a half north of us.
Really?
He was from, I think, Chicago. He used to train and compete with the Little Bridges, and then he moved to Daytona.
How refreshing is it to see a lifter, especially a super heavy, in wraps, absolutely dunk a squat world record?
Yeah.
Like not even like
Yeah.
depth.
He's
by a
competed
mile.
at big dogs. He's been really close.
Did
I think not this past year, but the year before. I want to say.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and he's done some big meets, and then he didn't compete at big dogs this year. I saw his training; it looked like he was crushing it. And then he came out of nowhere and just signed up for that meet without telling anyone.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Nice.
He's a
That's
sweetie.
badass.
Is he?
Remember, wasn't it him and his girlfriend, a girlfriend at the time? We were at an expo. This is years ago, and his girlfriend wanted to meet me, and he just came along with her. And Ryan's like, "You got to meet Dan Bell. He's he's huge, right?" And he had his belt. He was asking other people to sign it. It was his belt that he just competed with, and he met me for the first time. I had no idea who I was, and he was like, "Can you sign it?" And I'm like, "You sure you want me to sign it?" It's like next to like Kim Walford and like all the people lifters he was trying to meet. I'm like, "You sure? I'll sign it if you want."
Maybe it'll be worth some money one day.
Yeah. But he's always been a sweet guy.
Also, really cool to see Kate Vibert or Catherine Nye be represented at NBC.
Oh yeah, what
Yeah.
was she
Yeah, the
doing?
opportunity.
A press
She was
for
on Kelly Clarkson's.
Because you're like Kelly Clarkson's.
talk
Oh,
show.
really? I saw her at some photo shoot, but I didn't know exactly what she was doing in LA.
Yeah, Kelly Clarkson, and then they flew her to LA to do an NBC Olympics interview, too.
Yeah, that's
That's
super
cool.
cool.
Wow.
She posted a story like, does anyone know of a good weightlifting gym in this area I'm staying in, like Century City or whatever? And Meg was like, we're not in town, but if you want to go to our garage gym, we have like a women's weightlifting bar and all the
Well, you
plates.
guys have a great setup.
Gets the job done.
Mm-hmm.
It's Hybrid West, right?
Yeah.
It's definitely not. If anyone's watching that, don't show up at our house.
Please don't.
What else?
We're gonna plug the address right there. There you go. I'm saying it's okay.
Beauty.
I think that's all for lifting gossip for this
Damn,
week.
that was all positive stuff. Where's the freaking juice,
Where's the tea?
dude?
Yeah, Meg wants to talk
the
shit.
I want
Tea.
the tea, sis.
None this week, I guess, huh?
I love gossip.
Come on, guys, do some more high squats so we can bash them.
I'll do them today.
There you go. Me too.
Just take a
I
story.
always do those once a month. Once a
Um,
month leg day.
So to wrap up the podcast, we have Florida Man. What do you got?
Caesar, speak into my mouth.
Jesus.
Florida man finds a World War II grenade, places it in his truck, and drives to Taco Bell, getting the Taco Bell evacuated. So he found it magnet fishing, and he decided to just call the bomb squad after he ate at Taco Bell. That's our Florida people here.
How did
So
they
he found a grenade with magnet fishing,
in the lake.
puts it in his car, drives to Taco Bell, has a taco, says, "I'm gonna call the bomb squad."
Yep. And then everybody got evacuated because of it.
Wow.
Oh wow.
Do you
Does
think?
it say what kind of taco he ordered?
I was thinking this. I was like, Crunchwrap? Is this Gordon?
Yeah.
Anyways.
Do you think that bomb is active?
What is magnet fishing?
So they get like a strong magnet and they literally just throw
That's
it into
nuts.
the water and capture any
Oh
milk in
my
the bottom of
gosh.
it.
From
That is so
But-
Florida alone right there.
Yeah, but
You know,
all right,
it's
you're
like
not.
You go to the South Beach. There's the people walking around with those things trying to find
Oh,
your
the metal
freaking
detectors?
jewelry.
It's not like
This
real-
is the water version of that. They're fucking throwing it in. They're trying to catch some jewelry, dog.
It's a valid thing. We went to Salt River in Arizona when I was a kid, and there's a part you can do like the full day or the half day trip. And on the half day trip, you literally have to grab the bottom of the river and like pull yourself over to the side,
Ooh,
or else you
not
have like
into
another
that.
few hours on the river. So at that point, someone we were with did it and lost their ring. Like it came off because they were, doing that. And so my dad kind of like walks back out through the water. He goes, "Oh, I found it." Reaches down, just picks up a totally different ring. So like people, you're sitting in the water, you're all soggy and
And they maybe wash up to the side or something.
yeah, and that there's just probably a gold mine of people's rings and jewelry and stuff that comes off in this river. So I think,
So I want to know what this guy got besides a grenade. That's what I really want to know.
yeah, Huh?
There's entire YouTube channels on that. People literally just go find random stuff. They find like guns, phones, GoPros. All kinds of
Wow.
stuff.
that's nuts.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
Honestly, I wonder if that grenade is still like. Would it still be active after so many years being underwater?
I think the bomb squad said it's not.
It's not, right? But
I feel like I can't take chances in
Yeah.
those scenarios, though. That's crazy. Hey, also, there's a Florida dog story. Wasn't there the dog that was driving a car? Does anyone know the background
Oh, I saw
on that?
Was it a Tesla?
But he was driving for like 5 minutes, wasn't it? Like he was like driving for a stretch.
Over an hour?
Over
A
an
dog?
hour?
Wait, he had his hands on the steering wheel. He was friggin'.
Yeah, and he's just like
You better video plug this if there's video.
Dude, are
of
you
it.
serious?
Jesus.
doing a full blown circle in a parking lot. Like,
how was he
You think-
controlling
How's
the
he
car?
hitting the gas?
I don't know.
Maybe it was just in drive, and it
Oh,
was just
yeah.
going like 5 miles an hour. In a loop.
That's
Wow.
crazy. Florida,
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
Crazy.
you never cease to amaze me, baby. You one crazy little girl.
Florida?
Yeah. Yes,
Florida's
I just
a girl,
assumed
eh?
it's gender.
I feel like I don't know. The madness of Florida might only be able to be fully captured by a male.
I disagree. Ladies be crazy, man. Come on.
All right, fair.
Awesome.
Women in heat.
All right, you guys, thank you for tuning in to this week's episode number 2 of Hybrid Unlimited. This episode was brought to you by myself and all of our hybrid products. Remember, you can shop for our apparel at, where is it?
Hybrid.apparel.store.
Get it together, guys.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I was put on the spot. It's going to be plugged right there. Don't worry.
You can also shop for our training programs at habitperformancemethod.com, as well as nutrition. Or you can sign up for Strong Friends, Stronger by the Day.
Yep.
Where can we find you?
At strongstrongfriends.com, and you can find me everywhere at Megsquats.
She doesn't already know who she is. That's crazy.
Yeah.
You can find me at linkedin.com/Ryan Espiritu. Send me a connection request. I'll probably approve it.
How many LinkedIn do you have?
I think I have a lot. I just haven't used it. In whatever.
Anytime we're on something like this, which is rarely, Ryan's on something like this, he always
Plugs
promotes
into
his
LinkedIn?
LinkedIn.
Trying to get
I have
lit.
500 plus.
I have 500 plus,
Yeah.
but I don't know.
Everybody has 500 plus, Steffi. Come on.
Oh, yeah?
I don't
Is
think
that
I
the
have
case?
LinkedIn.
Loser.
He doesn't even have one.
Hey, what about you? Where can they find you? December. You're going to be in New York.
Yeah, but what we said, yeah, I
Oh,
guess,
yeah.
yeah. I'll be in New York in December 12th through the 16th for Strong New York seminar at Solace.
Are you going to see Beetlejuice?
I might if I have time.
And see Come From Away.
I've heard
It's
that
about
one's great, too.
Canadians. You should see it. I cried the entire
People.
time.
Oh, I don't know about
sobbing.
that. I'm pretty sentimental. I don't want to go and cry.
It's like a heartwarming,
It's heartwarming.
story. It's not like, I mean, there's.
That's what gets me.
It's
Yeah,
Canadians
be a
and
little
Americans
softy.
coming together to make the world a better place in the wake of September 11th.
Hayden cries at the beginning of hockey games every time.
National anthem.
National
Can't do
anthem.
it.
Oh, Canada?
Whatever.
That one?
Could be Iraq. So if someone's singing it passionately, gets me.
All right, guys, that was all for this week. Hope to see you soon. That was a terrible outro. I'm gonna
Cut.
try that again. All right, guys, that was all for this week. See you guys on the next episode of Hybrid Unlimited. Bye.